What's good? I'm Coach Colin Castello with Shotmechanics Basketball, and today I'm going to break down 4 reasons why Stephen Curry breaking his hand is actually good news. Alright, so as you saw recently, Steph Curry went down with a broken hand, and unfortunately it ended his season. Now, what was really unfortunate is I personally was super excited to see Steph go off this season, right? The team had some injuries, they lost some players, and I was excited to see MVP Steph back to form. But when he went down with the broken hand, all that went right out the window. But the good news is, I'm an optimist. I looked at this as a situation of why it's actually good for Stephen Curry and the Warriors and how it's actually going to benefit them in the long run. But first, this video is brought to you by my guys over at Max One, where if you want to get a lights out jumper, this is the app you're not going to want to miss. Max One is absolutely changing the game with their Smart Coach AI shooting app. This is an app that's actually going to watch you shoot, analyze your jumper, and give you perfectly personalized feedback. Now, this is really the future of personalized shooting instruction, and one of the reasons why I decided to partner with Max One on this project. So now, instead of helping just one athlete at a time, I can help thousands and thousands of athletes all over the world using artificial intelligence and the latest cutting edge technology. And when I say this technology is insane, I mean it's insane. I've been playing around with it for the last couple weeks and I'm absolutely in love. So click the top link in the description down below or the first pinned comment to save your spot inside the wait list when we launch here very shortly. And every single athlete's going to get a free analysis if they do so. And to go one step further and make it better, anybody who signs up for the wait list is going to get instant access to my Tryout Academy series that I produced with Max One. It's an academy that I put together to help you get ready to slay tryouts. From tips and tricks to ways to impress the coach, it's something that you're not going to want to miss because the information is crazy valuable. All right, so before I jump into it, I gotta mention, before you guys get in the comments all sorts of saucy at me, right? I never hope for injuries. I'm sorry that Steph got hurt. I wish he didn't, and all things considered, it would have been better if he didn't, right? So I'm not saying it's good that he got hurt. All I'm saying is there is a little bit of silver lining to the process as well. All right, so the very first thing that I think might be a good thing about Steph Curry breaking his hand is his guide hand optimization. Now, Steph Curry is already one of the best shooters in the entire world, probably the best shooter of all time, in my personal opinion. But one thing on his jump shot is he does have a little bit of guide hand influence, meaning as he's getting ready to shoot, his left thumb pushes the ball just slightly. Now, this isn't bad, and obviously it works for him, right? Don't think I'm telling Steph Curry how to shoot, but what a lot of times happens is if a player breaks their guide hand, it forces them to optimize their jumper just a little bit more. So even though Steph Curry's the best shooter on the planet and probably the best shooter in history, he might be able to get better if he can get a little bit less guide hand interference. So let me tell you a quick story about a friend I had growing up named Jason Curtis, right? We played on the same AAU team, we were the same age, and he was a pretty darn good shooter. But one year before basketball season, he ended up breaking his guide hand playing football right before the season started. So obviously he couldn't shoot, he couldn't practice, he couldn't do kind of the whole stuff. But once he got his cast on, he started working on his jumper, and because of that, it allowed him to optimize his guide hand and it started shooting straighter. So by the time he got his cast off, he had optimized his guide hand because he no longer could push with it. And because of that, he was a better shooter than he'd ever been before. And he went on to set the single game 3-point record for the school and the career 3-point record for the school. And all that because he ended up breaking his guide hand playing football. So it was a little bit of a glass half full scenario. And with Steph, I think he could maybe get a little bit better just by having his guide hand less involved. All right, so for the second reason why it might have been good that Steph Curry broke his hand is forced rest. Now, Stephen Curry has been going hard for a long time as the Warriors have made these deep NBA playoff runs. So Steph Curry is currently 31 years old and has played 442 NBA games since 2014, which is an incredible amount of basketball and something that can really kind of weigh on the human body. And when you think about the intensity of an NBA game and how hard they have to go night in and night out, when you think about how good the Warriors were, so they were always getting every single team's A game, those miles and minutes are really going to start to pile up. So honestly, I think this might have been like the best possible scenario for an injury for Steph because it's an extremity injury. It might actually help his jumper a little bit like I talked about earlier, and it's going to allow him to get rest, recharge the battery, and come back next season ready to rock and roll. So that brings us to reason number 3, where it's actually maybe good for the Warriors. Now, because of the Klay Thompson injury and Kevin Durant leaving, right, they probably weren't going to be hyper competitive this year anyways. And so by having Steph Curry get injured now, it allows the Warriors to start develop some of their young talent and maybe build a core so they can be ultra competitive in the future. So when you look at their young talent, guys like Eric Paschall and Jordan Poole, by giving them a little bit of free reign to try some stuff out, to get better, to fight through their mistakes, I actually think they're gonna be a lot better in the long run. When you look at somebody like Paschall just by himself, he's come out of the gate hot and really proving that he belongs in the league. So I mean, think about it like this. As of recording this video, Eric Paschall is averaging 15.6 points per game, shooting 52% from the field and 90% from the free throw line. And so a guy like him maybe wouldn't have got as much of an opportunity if Steph's taking all those shots and controlling the ball. And then you look at somebody like Jordan Poole, who's averaging close to 10 points a game. It really is kind of a win-win for the Warriors because they can maybe develop him to play with the superstars when they come back, or develop him into a nice trade piece that they can flip for something to make their team better. So overall, for the Warriors, this is a who cares year. They weren't gonna win the championship anyways, so they might as well rest up, play some younger players, and get better in the process. And the next big point why this can actually help the Warriors in the long run is because it's going to give them a high lottery pick. As of recording this video, they were tied for last in the NBA with the New York Knicks as far as the standings go, and because of that, they're gonna have higher odds to get a fantastic lottery pick by the time the season ends. Now, this is a little bit of a once-in-a-lifetime situation for the Warriors because how many times do you get to have 3 superstars and then be able to have a high lottery pick the next year? Very rarely is this ever an opportunity, and probably the last time you really thought about it was with the San Antonio Spurs and Tim Duncan. So in 1996, the star forward for the Spurs, David Robinson, went down with an injury, and because of that, the Spurs only won 20 games that season. So although they were normally around probably like a 50-win team, because they won 20, they ended up getting the first pick in the draft and got Tim Duncan, an absolutely game-changing player who might be the best power forward of all time. And so because of that, that kicked off a streak of dominance for the Spurs that still kind of is trickling along to this day. And a lot of times you just need an incredibly lucky break, like a well-timed injury. So if the Warriors get the #1 pick in the draft, they're gonna have a bunch of options here. They can either get a big man to kind of really anchor their front court, whether it's somebody like James Wiseman, or if they want to solidify their backcourt for future years, they could go after elite guards like LaMelo Ball or Cole Anthony to really make sure that they've got that firepower going forward. So long story short, it sucks that Steph Curry got hurt. I really wish he didn't, but because of it, there is a little bit of a silver lining here and there, and I think the Warriors are going to be okay in the long run. All right, if you're new to Shot Mechanics and you want to see more videos, go ahead and pop that subscription button and then ding the bell notification icon. That way you get all of our videos as soon as they come out. And leave a comment in the comment section down below and let me know what sort of video you want to see next. This is a channel run for the people, by the people. We run pretty much everything off request, so leave it down below and hopefully we'll be able to get to it. All right, again, I'm Coach Colin Castell with Shot Mechanics Basketball. Thanks for watching, and until next time, splash on.